on to the Sappy Ewe, which is just 50% sheep's milk. Sappy Ewe is, I always explain to people that in the wintertime in the Adirondacks, not a whole lot of our staff are skiers, and other than skiing, there's not a whole lot to do. So we come up with all sorts of recipes, and 2 or 3 might make it through kind of the tasting evaluation in any given year. And so the Sappy Ewe was one of those. Actually, my assistant Sal came up with the whole concept of Sappy Ewe, and I hate him to this day for it because it's a very complicated cheese to make. It's a sheep and cow's milk combination, and we add a little bit of cream because we feel that it's just a touch too dry without that extra cream element. And we also infuse it with some local maple. The town in the Adirondacks where our farm is the, I guess, the largest producer of maple in upstate New York. So we try to do a lot of things with maple. We make a cranberry chev with maple, and we make a maple chev, and certainly we make this cheese, which is a slight maple reduction, which brings out a little bit more of the sugars. And then that helps to tamp down some of the sour elements that you can find in sheep milk when you age it out over a long period of time. And then we pat it down with vegetable black ash. And the concept of the cheese is it's supposed to be all things borealis, of the borealis forest. So in the area where we are now, most of the dairy families a century and a half ago were sheep families that also used wool and other components. So sheep were, and also because it's such a stony, difficult geology for cows, and goats were not that prevalent, people had a lot of sheep. And the maple, obviously, because it's a huge maple area, and then the black ash, we'd hoped to do a pine ash because there's so much pine in our region, but it's just difficult from the third-party auditing, food safety standpoint to get a consistent amount of pine ash all the time to use. So we've kind of fallen back on the vegetable black ash. So that is the Sappy Ewe.
So how long is this aged?
We age it for about 4 to 5 weeks before we send it out. It's kind of like a hybrid, moving towards it's a little less of a bloomy rind, moving more towards a little bit more towards an aged cheese, and it's also a little denser cheese.
How long do you think you could age this out?
Oh, we've aged it. Usually we put a best by of about 4 months on it, but we've aged it out at 6 to 7 months. And we have a stash of it that we age a little bit longer, that people come to our store to buy because they know that we hold a little bit back, which is specialized. You know, the thing that ages with the least beauty, shall I say, is actually the black ash, as it starts to change colors a little bit. And so it's not as pretty as a young Sappy Ewe, but it's certainly very delicious as it ages, and creamier.
Yeah, it really shows the maple in there. But what's really surprising is how dense this cheese is. You know, it doesn't have that melt in your mouth. It has a more of an aged cheese that gives you a wonderful mouthfeel. The balance of flavors is exceptional. This is a great snacking cheese.
Well, thank you. Yes, we have tried in the last few years to come out with a few more durable options, more economical and more durable, so that people don't have to feel like every bloomy rind has to be a fancy cheese, because we're certainly not fancy cheesemakers, so we don't want people to feel like our